So 16 members are present, 2 are absent, Isa. Who are absent? Anyway, mark your attendance in the classroom. So what all we have discussed in the last class, theory and luminescence behind fluorimetric analysis, right? Now let's see about factors affecting fluorescence. That is the third part of fluorimetric analysis. Fluorescence is nothing but emission of light. So we are discussing about the analyzing emission of light from the molecule. So what are the factors will affect fluorescence intensity? Now let's see. First one is concentration, then quantum yield of fluorescence, intensity of incident light, absorption, oxygen, pH, temperature and viscosity, photo decomposition, quencher, scatter, conjugation, and nature of substituent groups. So individually, each factors how it will affect the fluorescence intensity, whether it is increasing the intensity or decreasing the fluorescence intensity. Let's discuss. And all the factors comprises of two major factors, that is depending on intrinsic structure of a molecule or an environment of a molecule, where the molecule is existed during its analysis, or environmental factors. Then intrinsic structure says about chemical structure of a molecule, what type of bonds, what type of unsaturation system, what type of chromophores, oxochromes, all groups are existed in the molecule. So based on that also fluorescence intensity varies. In that, first let's move on to the first factor, concentration. At low concentration and high concentration, the calibration curve is compared. At low concentration, you could find the concentration of fluorescing species is linearly increasing with the intensity of fluorescence at low concentrations. At high concentrations, it has been decreased. Percentage of fluorescence intensity has been decreased due to the self-quenching or concentration quenching. How it is increasing? With the concentration, fluorescence intensity is decreased means when concentration means the concentration of fluorescent species is increased in the sample cell. You just think that number of fluorescent molecules are increased in the cuvette. Cuvette is what? Sample cell. What happens? What emission of light also will be increased. That emitted light will be absorbed by the another molecule which is there in the ground state in order to go to the excited state. So likewise, internal circulation of radiation occurs inside the sample cell itself. So what happens? Emitted light cannot be accurately detected by the detector. So there is loss of fluorescence intensity. That's why percentage of fluorescence intensity is reduced with the higher concentration. So we must choose lower concentration. What will be the concentration range? That is below 10 microgram per ml, below 10 microgram per ml. Below 10 microgram per ml, whereas for UV and visible it is of 100, around 100 microgram per ml. Okay. Now let's move on to the next factor, that is quantum yield of fluorescence, where number of photons it is calculated. Quantum yield of fluorescence, total fluorescence intensity can be calculated based on number of photons emitted, number of photons, that is radiation, amount of radiation emitted divided by number of photons absorbed. Absorbed. This is the ratio. Quantum yield is the ratio between emitted photons and absorbed photons. Okay. How much photons, what range it will be absorbing in UV range. So photons of UV photons will be absorbed, whereas and number of photons emitted will be of visible photons. Number of photons emitted will be of visible photons. So absorbed photons in the region of UV region, that is higher energy photons will be absorbed and lower energy photons will be emitted. That ratio as number of photons are calculated to get quantum yield of fluorescence, and it is always 1, and emitted photons will be having lower energy comparing with absorbed photons, that you have to know. And it is always less than 1 since some energy is lost by radiation less pathway. pathways. Radiationless pathways where it occurs at excited state. Already we have seen in the theory, at excited, singlet excited state, photons are lost due to collisional deactivation, intersystem crossing, and vibrational relaxation. These are radiationless process where the electrons will lose its energy. That's why only less energy of radiation is emitted to come to the ground state. Okay, so that is compared with quantum yield of fluorescence. It will be decreased with the collisional deactivation, intersystem crossing, and vibrational relaxation. What is the range of quantum yield of fluorescence? Less than 1. Since a number of photons will be emitted will be less where comparing with the number of photons absorbed. So that is about quantum yield of fluorescence. Now let's move on to the third factor, that is intensity of incident light. What is incident light? The light that is directly coming from the source. Okay. From the source, it is passed to the monochromator, then to the sample cell. So that is called intensity of incident light. It will be affected with, it is also affecting the fluorescence intensity. When intensity of incident light on the sample is increased, fluorescence intensity also will be increased. This is the indication you can observe, and so that you can easily remember. Intensity of incident light increases with fluorescence intensity. Likewise, next factor is adsorption. Adsorption is sensitive method. Okay, adsorption represents the species, fluorescent species present in the cuvette will get adsorbed onto the cuvette surface. There also loss of radiation occurs. So we have to avoid adsorption process. That's why we need to use the dilute solution. When it occurs adsorption, when more concentrated solution is used. Hence we need to prefer dilute solutions only during fluorimetric analysis. And next factor is oxygen. It is most important factor, since oxidation of fluorescent species to non-fluorescent species causes decrease in fluorescence intensity. That means increase in oxidation of fluorescent compound. What happens? Fluorescent compound will be converted to non-fluorescent compound due to oxidation process. Then there is decrease in fluorescence intensity, because decrease in fluorescent species occurs, that causes decrease in fluorescence intensity. So oxygen decreases fluorescence intensity. What you will call decrease in fluorescence intensity? Quenching. So oxygen causes quenching of fluorescence intensity. Okay, the term called as quenching. We'll be seeing under the types of quenching what category this oxygen comes under. There is nearly 4 types of quenching processes are there. In that, oxygen comes under which type of quenching we'll discuss while discussing the quenching process. Where already we have seen the concentration comes under self-quenching or concentration quenching. This is all one of the quenching process already we have been discussed. Now let's move on to the next factor, that is pH. It is most important factor. Taking example of phenol and aniline. Phenol in acidic condition, phenol, they can exist in both the condition. In acidic medium, when the phenol is present, it is existing as undissociated. Since phenols are acidic in nature, they will be undissociated in acidic medium. Thereby, it gives no fluorescence. So for phenols in acidic medium, acidic pH medium, since it is undissociated from, it gives no fluorescence. But in alkaline medium, what happens? It is going for ionization. That's why it is mentioned with the dissociated, so that it will give good fluorescence. Once the phenol is ionized or dissociated, then it gives fluorescence. So this is how pH affects the phenol. Likewise, aniline. Aniline in acidic medium is giving fluorescence in visible region, since aniline is basic. So in acidic medium, it will be dissociated. So it gives fluorescence in visible region. Mostly fluorescence occurs in visible region, that is from 400 to 800 nanometer. Then in alkaline or neutral medium, it will be showing fluorescence in UV region. In alkaline or neutral medium, it shows fluorescence in UV region. It also gives fluorescence but at higher energy level in alkaline and neutral medium. Which one? Aniline. So pH alters the fluorescence intensity based on the nature of substance. If it is undissociated, then it gives no fluorescence, or in undissociated form, that particular compound may not give fluorescence. Or some compounds, if it is dissociated, may not give fluorescence. So we have to see at what condition, whether dissociated condition or undissociated condition, the molecule is giving fluorescence. Based on that, we have to decide the pH for analysis. So pH is the major factor which affects fluorescence intensity. It may convert the fluorescent molecule to non-fluorescent molecule, or it may convert the non-fluorescent molecule to fluorescent molecule. So how many factors we have seen? Concentration, quantum yield of fluorescence, intensity of incident light, absorption, oxygen, and pH. Six factors have been completed. Now let's move on to the temperature. When increase in temperature found decrease in fluorescence intensity. If the temperature is increased, fluorescence intensity will be decreased. Since at higher temperature, the molecules will be collide each other, thereby collisional deactivation occurs, so that it decreases fluorescence intensity. That's why increase in temperature causes decrease in fluorescence intensity. Listening, right? Whether I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So next factor is viscosity. This is eighth factor. When viscosity is increased, fluorescence intensity will be increased. How means viscous? If high viscous solutions, this also should be optimum viscous. If you add high viscous solutions, we cannot analyze in the instrument. So medium viscous solution we can add, but to increase the viscosity, what happens? It will increase the fluorescence intensity. How means the solvent particles will cover the fluorescent molecule, so that it is preventing collisional deactivation, or collision between molecules will be prevented by high viscous solvents. That's why viscosity will be increasing the fluorescence intensity. Whereas temperature, what it does, it decreases fluorescence intensity. When temperature rises, it causes collision between the molecules. It increases the collision, so that it decreases fluorescence intensity, and that collision is prevented by adding viscous solutions, using viscous solutions or solvents, so that will increase the fluorescence intensity. Now let's move on to the next factor, photo decomposition. When photo decomposition is there, by means of photon, the molecule, fluorescent molecule, will go for decomposition process. So that leads decrease in fluorescence intensity. Photons, UV decomposition. Photo here represents UV decomposition, that causes decrease in fluorescence intensity. Here, fluorescent molecule will be converted to non-fluorescent molecule. Thereby, it decreases fluorescence intensity. Now let's see about quenchers. Quenchers means what? Automatically it will decrease the fluorescence intensity. Here you have seen some quenchers like oxygen, concentration, and temperature. These all like quenchers only, that we'll be seeing under quenching process. So quenchers usually sorry, due to network problem, the call has been cut now. I'll share again. So now scattering of incident light causes, instead of emission, scattering occurs, so that loss of radiation takes place. Some energy of radiation is lost, thereby fluorescence intensity also has been decreased. This is how scattering of light will be affecting the fluorescence intensity. Then conjugation. Conjugation is what? Double bonded system or unsaturation system, what you will call in UV visible spectroscopy chromophores. When more chromophores are present, here this unsaturation system can be, if more unsaturation system is present in the molecule, then it is called as fluorophore, that is able to give fluorescence. So the molecule here in fluorimetry called as fluorophore. Fluorophore will be fluorescent giving compound. So if unsaturation system is more in the molecule, then it increases fluorescence intensity. So directly proportional. Conjugation is directly proportional to the fluorescence intensity. The nature of substituent groups, this is most important, you have to see substituent groups. Here it is divided into two categories. One is electron donating groups and another one is electron withdrawing groups. Electron donating and electron withdrawing groups. Where electron donating groups, what we have seen under UV and visible, it is called as oxochromes. Means it will donate the electrons to the chromophores so that electron density will be increased, thereby it increases the absorption. That means it requires very less energy for activation or for absorption to move from ground state to excited state. So here electron donating groups, when it is present, when electron density is more, it will increase the fluorescence intensity. So it is directly proportional. Here are the groups responsible for increasing the fluorescence intensity. Amino group, hydroxyl group, then methoxy group, ethoxy group, cyanide group. And this all will be increasing the fluorescence intensity. And next about electron withdrawing groups, it will take the electrons present around the conjugation system. So what happens? Electron density is decreased and automatically it increases the fluorescence intensity. Not it increases, it decreases the fluorescence intensity since electron density is reduced. It decreases the fluorescence intensity. Electron withdrawing groups will decrease the fluorescence intensity since there is a reduction in electron density around the conjugation system. It will not extend the conjugation, where electron donating groups will extend the conjugation by donating its electrons when it is substituted in the conjugation system. That is what nature of substituent groups will affect the fluorescence intensity. Withdrawing groups will decrease intensity. Donating groups will increase fluorescence intensity. With this, factors have been completed. Here you can summarize and read what are all the factors or decreasing fluorescence intensity and what are increasing the fluorescence intensity. Let's see. Here, concentration decreases fluorescence intensity. Quantum yield is directly proportional to fluorescence intensity. Then intensity of incident light, if it increases, fluorescence intensity directly proportional. So concentration, intensity, and then pH sometimes, viscosity, then conjugation, nature of substituent groups. These factors are directly proportional. Where other factors, absorption, oxygen, pH, photo decomposition, quencher, scatter, these 6 factors will decrease the fluorescence intensity. So half of the factors will decrease the fluorescence intensity. That means it causes quenching process of fluorescence, where other factors will be increasing the fluorescence intensity. Okay, with examples you can write it. You can quote example under each category to get more marks in this. And next we'll move on to the quenching process. I think you have class by 11 o'clock. I'll explain only one quenching process. In the next class, we'll discuss remaining now. Okay. So quenching refers to any process which decreases the fluorescence intensity of a given substance. This already we have seen. What are the mechanisms for quenching means? Where the decrease in fluorescence intensity we found at excited state reactions. What are excited state reactions? Collisional deactivation, intersystem crossing. Just imagine the Jablonski diagram. In the excited state, what are the process takes place? Collisional deactivation, vibrational energy loss occurs, and then intersystem crossing process occurs. Thereby, it loses energy. And another one is energy transfer. From one molecule to another molecule, energy transfer occurs when concentration is increased. Then complex formation. Fluorescent molecule will be getting complex with another molecule so that it becomes non-fluorescent to give the fluorescence intensity. And then collisional quenching. Because of collision between the molecules, thereby there is a decrease in fluorescence intensity occurs. So these are all the mechanism we can find the quenching process. And as a consequence, quenching is often heavily depend on the pressure and temperature. These are all the factors quenching will be depending on. Already we have seen that temperature is decreasing the fluorescence intensity in the factors. Whatever we have read in the factors, mostly it will be useful under quenching process. Whatever factors are decreasing fluorescence intensity can be considered under quenching process, where molecular oxygen, iodide ions, halides, then acrylamide are common chemical quenchers. Then chloride ion is a well-known quencher for quinine fluorescence. Quinine is the primary standard for fluorimetric analysis. When quinine is added with chloride ion, or chloride ion is present with quinine, it causes complex with the quinine, so it reduces fluorescence intensity of quinine. So this is common example. Usually instead of chloride ion, we'll be using iodide ion. The iodide ion also will be decreasing the quinine fluorescence intensity. And there are 4 types of quenching: collisional, static, chemical, and concentration quenching. Concentration quenching already has been discussed. We need to discuss about what is collisional quenching, static quenching, and chemical quenching. This will be discussed in the next class. Okay. So we have seen now factors affecting fluorescence intensity and introduction on quenching process. Okay. Thank you all. We'll meet in the next class. For any doubts, we'll have discussion in the next class. Okay. Sorry for the delayed class. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any doubt, you can
Thank you, ma'am.
classroom also. Okay. Okay.